Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey Flesh and Blood folks, welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. I'm Andrew with you here as always, and I hope your week has been going well. So this last weekend at our Armory tournament at Gongai Games, I got paired up with a new player first round, and we shut off the camera and just had kind of a fun game back and forth, doing some learning type stuff as you do. And after the game, we were hanging out talking. Some other the guys came over, and we were just hanging out. And one of the questions the new player asked was something that a lot of the new players ask, which is, what's a good hero for me to start out with? Now this player particularly, he had a pretty decent Katsu deck actually. So he was more asking what would be a good second hero to pick up. But it really got me thinking. It's this is a question that we get all the time, and obviously there's all different opinions and different takes on it. And it all depends on your personal playstyle, personal background, and stuff. But I figured what I'd do tonight is I'd run down my top 5 heroes to start out with, but also to grow with. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in today for what I hope will be kind of a fun cast. Now, while on the surface this of course is targeted towards new players because it is, right? It's like to start out. I think veteran players care about it as well, even out of just kind of curiosity to see where it stands. But I think veteran players care too because it can help guide their advice that they give to others. Or actually, I mean, the real thing is I want to hear your feedback, right? Let me know below. Do you agree with the list? Do you disagree with the list? Do you have different takes on some of these guys? You're based on personal experiences of teaching or whatever it may be, right? So very interested to kind of have that conversation in general. So before we get into the actual list, what I want to do is kind of run down really kind of the thought process or the criteria behind what I was, kind of the selection and the ordering. Now, also, as far as the ordering goes, I do want to be very clear. I'm pretty confident about number 5 in terms of the order, and I'm pretty confident about number 1 being number 1. But 2, 3, and 4 are really kind of like 2, 3, and 4 are kind of like all basically tied, right? So don't hate me too much on the 2, 3, 4. So the kind of the criteria, the selection criteria I used in going through this was, so again, remember that the focus here is to start out and grow with, right? So it's not just about them being easy or being attractive. Well, it's both, right? So you want the line of play to be relatively simple, relatively straightforward, but you also want there to be growth opportunities, right? And how do I learn the basic stuff of stab, kick, and then turn it into being something else or growing over time. And then another factor I used to be blunt is collectability and price, right? Like, do you have to have does it have to be a $400 deck out of the gate, or can it be a $30 deck out of the gate, right? And then how many lines of play from an evolving the character standpoint, how many lines of play are there for that hero, right? I mean, am I just laying haymakers all day with Prism, or can I move into auras or something like that, right? So hopefully, hopefully, I mean, just with that out there, you can kind of at least in theory understand kind of where I was coming from, right? So I did want to throw up an honorable mention. And this honorable mention, hopefully I can use in kind of context of where my head has been at. So honorable mention is Boltyn. Okay, so Boltyn did not make my top 5. And the primary reason Boltyn didn't make my top 5 is that he's a little too card intensive. In my opinion, I believe he's a little too card intensive for new players in terms of, right? I mean, we all know what he has to do. He has to charge, right? So generally he needs a 3-card hand, right? He needs some sort of card to let you charge. He needs a card to charge, and then generally needs something at a minimum to pay for it, right? So, or to do some sort of follow-up, right? So that's why Boltyn did not make it in my top 5 is that 3-card hand, I think, can lead for, especially for someone learning and growing the game. I think the requirement of that 3-card hand, I think, can leave a lot of situations in which they'll kind of have a dead turn, or it makes it, and that dead turn is not necessarily a bad thing because it can help teach them how to not do it. But I think it can lead, I think it's a little too high of a learning curve for Boltyn. Now, I think the reason I do like Boltyn, the reason he made honorable mention, is because he's really attractive as a fun hero, right? He's a warrior. He's got, the Raiden line. He's got the Axes line. He's got the Sabers line. He has tons of different ways that you can grow with him, kind of customize him based on what you want to do. He just looks, like I said, he's really, really attractive. He just looks cool. He's this big gold warrior. So he's got a lot of things going for him that a lot of new players are attracted to. My buddy recently got into the game, picked up Boltyn. Now, he has a more extensive gaming background, so I think that he's okay to do that. So again, that's why I say you have to consider your own personal background in this. But anyway, so hopefully that helps put things into context of, Boltyn has a lot of things going for him that really are appealing to new players, but in terms of his basic line of play, he's just a little too complicated. I think Boltyn's like a great second hero, for example. All right, so number 5 is Prism. Prism, I think, is a great starting point for new players and a great growth opportunity, because you can start off just with the haymakers strategy, right? You just throw big stuff out there, and if it gets blocked, you learn how to block a little bit with it. You learn how to hold back, swing at the right time. And then as you start to evolve, you can add in cards let's be honest, relatively cheaply. Luminaris itself is not all that expensive in the grand scheme of Flesh and Blood. You can get Luminaris, then you can start to kind of build your deck around figuring out how to do the yellow pitches and play that right. Now, obviously, taking the next step up to get like Footsteps and Vestige and stuff like that does add cost, which is why she's a little higher on the list. But again, she provides a lot of growth opportunities in that you can, like I said, go get Luminaris, grow there, or you can try and branch out into the Aura strategy and try and figure that out, or do a hybrid based on how you want, how that player wants, and how you just want to evolve with it. So, like I said, I think she's a great spot because she's relatively fundamentally easy at the very basic level. Again, you just need it. You can block, you hold something for pitch, and you throw a huge card. Right? It's very, very easy to start, but she provides a lot of upside. And again, she's also a very attractive, right? You have to be careful with the usage of that in this case, but she's a very approachable hero for a new player. So I have her in solidly at number 5. Number 4, I have my girl Dorinthia. So Dorinthia again is a relative. She's really, really good at the at the lower level. And by that, what I mean is at the like if you do a Welcome to Wrath draft with new players, a lot of them will end up on Dorinthia. And that's because a lot of them don't realize you have to have the action point to swing again, right? That's a mistake that almost all of us have made, right? But her in of herself, she's a relatively attractive hero, right? In this case, like she's a very approachable hero. It's very simple to understand. Hey, I pump the blade and I swing the blade and I try to go again, right? So her basic strategy, which continues to be her strategy for the most part, is relatively simple to understand. But it takes it again with my. I'm still playing her. I still find challenges with her trying to figure out. Do I try to go for the counter? Do I just go for the over the top? Do I go mainly front pump, or do I want to do attack, or do I want to do reacts? Right, using my reprise effects. How do I want to build the decks? Like I said, it's just because she's simple and attractive out of the gate, she has a lot of places to grow. One of the reasons I have her again at number 4 is she's very funny, and this is consistent with some of the Welcome to Wrath heroes for sure. But you can do a pretty decent Dorinthia deck for like $10, right? You just need some Warrior Valors. Yeah, you have to go chase your spoils. That's, Spoils of War, maybe a little more. But, at a fundamental level, you can do a lot of the front pump cards, get your attack reacts in there, and you can build a pretty decent Dorinthia deck for pretty cheap. However, when you have to take the next step and try to build out the fridge, right, the Warrior Equipment package, things start stacking up pretty quick. Once you start, it's only, $10, $12, $18 a pop per card, but, you start looking at Spoils of War, Glint the Quicksilver, Steelblade Supremacy, stuff like that. It kind of climbs real quick, right? So while she is exceedingly attractive at the low end, both from play and from just cost and collectability standpoint, very, very easy to do. But once you start taking that step and kind of going that customization, she's kind of in the Prism range where she starts getting a little more expensive with what you need to do. Now, of course, every hero's got their cost with their L equipment, but I think Dorinthia is a little more, because you want the skull cap, you want, bolters is fine, but maybe you want the dynamos, right? You want to chase down the bracers, you want the courage in many cases, right? So I think you understand what I'm saying there. Number 3, and I want to be very clear, right? I said it going into this, 4, 3, and 2 are relative. Like, I think anyone could make the case that like 4, 3, and 2 could be interchangeable. So anyway, number 3 is Ninja Katsu. So Katsu or Ira, right, in the case of Blitz, right? So I'm obviously taking the CC approach here, but in the case of Blitz, Ira probably is the better here, right? Just to run that out there. But Katsu with the Kodachi is a great new player strategy. I mean, it's very, very, very simple to understand that you stab, do something. But I think Katsu has a lot more upside. I mean, the whole ninja strategy, honestly, is easy. Like, it really is, guys, right? It's very easy. You just have a whole bunch of blue pitches, a whole bunch of 0 blues, and some big stuff, and you stab. I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple, right? You get it. But I think Katsu has a little more upside potential because of his ability to get a little more out of his combos, right? I mean, with, you look at an Ira, she's not really trying to pull off combos all that much. She's just trying to kind of like keep stabbing you to death. Katsu can actually go for some pretty big turns, right? Based on how you set it up. If you learn how to pitch correctly, if you set yourself up correctly and learn how to play Flesh and Blood, right? Katsu can do some pretty cool things. So I like that he's really low entry point in terms of ease. There's a lot of growth on him. He's not all that expensive. I mean, Mask of Momentum's one of the more expensive legendaries that I believe right now. But you can play. I mean, having Mask there is important because not having Mask there makes their life a lot easier. But you can play him without Mask, right? So, like, I think Katsu falls in a really, really good spot there for trying to bring. Plus, it's ninja and it's fun. And I think a lot of players really, really will align with Katsu. And hey, guess what? A lot of Road to Nationals players are playing him right now, right? So you could be a ninja player for your whole career, and I think you'd be pretty happy. All right, number 2 is Dash. And I put her at number 2 over her versus Katsu. It's a tough thing, but I think Dash also looks really fun. Plus, Dash is a little higher on the entry point only because you need to get the induction chambers, right? But I think that's why I like Dash at number 2 is maybe Dash is like the best, because that's actually what we ended up recommending for the new player was go check out Dash, right? That I was referring to earlier was go check out Dash kind of as your second hero. But I think she's really attractive to especially, people coming in from other games because she's a combo, like she's a relatively simple combo-y, right? And like she's not combo in the traditional sense of like, playing multiple things, but she starts with the induction chamber and like that line of play is very clear from the get-go. Somebody says, oh, she starts something in play. Oh, I read the induction chamber. Oh, I can take multiple pistol shots. I mean, people can very clearly look at those 2 cards and be like, oh, I see it. This is really cool. Plus, you can go control with her. You can go all out on the boost strategy with her. And I really like just the multiple options of play, even really from the get-go. People just can kind of customize and do what they want. And I think she's very, very attractive, I think, to a new player because of just, the fundamental ease of kind of going into and looking at how she works at a fundamental level. Now, I do think that Dash has a little more upside in skill at the higher levels. I do think there's a little more upside in skill for Dash. I have not completely mastered it yet. I'll completely openly admit that, right? But again, we've seen that she's done very well at top stuff. So I think she's great from the entry point. And I think you can carry through on her all the way to the end, right? And in terms of cost, aside from maybe a little higher barrier of entry, just because, like I said, you have to have the induction chambers and maybe some other stuff, over like at the high end, I think her cost is actually lower, right? And because the argument can be made that like you don't really need the Teklo heart, right? So like I said, even though you have to have the supers and stuff, whereas a lot of the other guys might only have to have rares and commons. In the grand scheme of things, I think that she's probably one of the cheaper ones overall, at least in today's environment. So a lot of good things going on there for Dash. All right, number 1, pretty much everybody I think strongly agrees on this one, but it's Mr. Bravo, right? I think Bravo's by far I think he's solidly number one, right? His ability to take that hammer and always put on pressure on with one card is great. It's a very, very simple line of play. It also gets players a lot of reps and experience with learning how to block. And you know, when you start, you can basically go all in on the hammer strategy, you know, with your pummels and stuff like that. And as you grow and you start to fill out your deck, you can start doing your crushes or your crushes, right? Start going for the crushes and learning how that works. You can, you know, work in your sigils and you can work in your blessings and start worrying about life gain. And Bravo's pretty well positioned about pretty much anybody in the field, right? I mean, because he kind of can block. And I mean, I just, my love for where Bravo is from a new player entry standpoint is great. And again, Bravo, there's no shortage of Bravo at the top tables either, right? People have been able to grow with him. I mean, some of the best players in the world have been on Bravo the whole time. So, you know, you can certainly, I think he's a great place to start out with. He's certainly a great hero to grow with, and I think you could be a Bravo player forever, or a Guardian player forever maybe, and be really, really happy with it. So, hopefully there's not too much pushback on that one. I think, in my opinion, that's where Bravo's where I try to steer most new players, because he's just good, right? He's just good. I think he's a great starting point. So, anyway, that's my list today. I mean, you know, you can take it or leave it, basically. But, you know, and like I said, the ones in the middle, a little more flexible in terms of order. But personal preference here matters, right? If you look at it, like I started off with Dorinthia because I thought she just looked freaking awesome. That's why I started out with Dorinthia. Ended up matching my playstyle very, very well. I love playing her to this day. But, you know, if you want to play Prism and she's number 5, don't say, oh, well, Prism's number 5. Go play Prism, right? I mean, or in the case I said with Boltyn, you want to go play Boltyn, he's not on the list, but go play Boltyn, right? I mean, do what you want to do, but, you know, don't start with like a Chane or don't start with like a Levia, right? I mean, that's basically where we're going here, right? But I really do believe that these top 5 are probably where you should try to steer your new players, at least early. I know the new set's going to be coming out here in about a month. We'll have to see if any of the new ones fall into that. I suspect with what we're seeing of the elementals that they're going to maybe fall in a little like more of the Boltyn range where they're kind of a little more card intensive and a little harder. But we will see, and if the list needs updated, we can update the list. So anyway, for the vets out there, let me know what you guys are thinking. For the newbies, let me know what you're thinking as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. I want to remind everybody of the giveaway we still have going on. If all you have to do is like and subscribe, comment on the video. Now, do remember you have to be a public subscriber. You have to be able to tell you're a subscriber. Otherwise, I mean, we can't do it, right? It's just the way it is. But I also want to encourage everybody to check out the channel subscriptions or channel memberships. So I uploaded, just the day I'm shooting this, it'll go up a couple days later. I just uploaded a deck tech for my Dorinthia Classic Constructed. I went 3-0 in Armory this last weekend. So I shot a video of it, including kind of the sideboard options, and went through that. So there's stuff available. You can come join us on our Discord. We're chatting fab all the time. So you can check that out. Like I said, like, subscribe, get in on that giveaway. And let me know what you guys are thinking. I really love interacting with you guys. I try to interact with and respond to posts when I can, right? And I get through most of them. So anyway, thanks folks for joining today. Embrace those newbies and grow with them, and go Commando.